Hello, this is Victoria Pendragon. Welcome to my alternate reality. This is a story that just happened recently. This is 2016. My mom transitioned in, I think it was 2012, pretty sure. At any rate, she donated her body to science, as any good doctor would, I suppose. And so her ashes were not returned to the family until recently, when they got done with it. And I kind of opted out of the big ceremony where her ashes were going to be distributed in a place that was dear to a lot of my family, because it was a place where a reunion was held annually, a reunion that I occasionally bopped into and out of for a few hours, and rarely more than that. I have a certain distance from my family for whatever variety of reasons. And so I chose to ask if I might have some of the ashes to have my own ceremony, because my mother was, for me, a very different mother than she was for almost everyone else in the family. Well, no, everyone else in the family. So as it happened, I got her ashes back, and I could see that her birthday was coming up soon, July, last month. So I made a decision to take her ashes to a place that we used to go to when I was young. Not a child, probably high school. But I have many younger siblings. And there was a park that we all used to go to just on the fringes of Philadelphia called Valley Green. And you're probably not supposed to drop people's ashes there. But it was that much in a little vial. Don't think I'll get in any trouble. At any rate, I had in my mind a vision of where I was going to take these ashes, because I had a literal fragment of a picture. I don't have one of these absolutely vivid photographic minds or memories, but I sort of see things. And so I had this image of a large rock by the edge of a stream that was just off a path. And if Valley Green is filled with paths, but there was one we always took. So I knew which path it was, because there was no other path. And I knew where to park the car, because that's where we always park the car. And so I made my arrangements and went up there with my little vial of ashes tucked into my pocket, and a camera, because I like to take pictures. And I went on my walk. And I began to notice as I was walking that the path seemed to be getting higher and higher and higher, and the creek was staying where it was. And I thought, well, this is odd, because how am I going to find this place? I mean, there was clearly in my mind this big rock, and it was right next to the water. But the path was up here, and the water was down here, and there was a fence. It started pretty quick as soon as it started to rise, the path. But I kept walking and walked, I don't know. I don't have a pedometer or anything, but probably walked for about 20, 25 minutes, however long that might take one, till I finally got to the point where, as far ahead as I could see, and at that point I could see far ahead, the things weren't changing. The path was still high and had a fence around it, and I thought to myself, I guess I was mistaken. Perhaps I had that vision from some other time. And so I turned around and I thought, I will just go back and I will find some suitable spot. Well, on the walk out, because I had been taking pictures, I was noticing beautiful places. And one of the beautiful places I had seen was on my left, and there was an opening in this railing that went along the path. And I thought to myself, I wonder what's down there. I didn't remember ever having seen that before. And heaven knows I had visited Valley Green tremendous numbers of times, because not just with my mother and my siblings, but in high school, I went with my friends. In my first marriage, I took my kids there with my husband. So I am relatively familiar with the place, and especially that path, but I did not remember that opening at all. So on the way back, I thought, I'm going to peek down there. And I looked down when I got there, and there were steps. Old, busted up stone steps that looked like they'd been there forever. So clearly this was something that I just had never noticed before, because it was old and it was a wreck. There were moss growing all over everything. And I thought to myself, well, it's interesting looking, and I took a shot down the stairs, and it was the kind of stairs that went down and then over and then down, and I couldn't see all the way to the bottom because it bent back a couple of times. And so I thought, well, I'm going to go down, I'm going to peek and see what's down there. This is all just very curious. And so using my hands to help hold me, because it's rocks and I'm almost 70, so I'm watching myself. And I got down and I made the turn, and I took some more pictures up the stairs and over there, and made another turn down, and there it was, the rock next to the stream. It was the thing I had been seeing in my head. Now, the thing is, when I thought of this space that I was going to take my mother's ashes, I remembered this, I thought, as the only place that I had been with my mother where there was a kind of pure love between us, when she still had her mind, because the last maybe 10 years of her life she didn't. And so it was, my memory was that this was where my mother and I had once actually connected at some level in a very sweet way, except that we didn't. Well, we did, but she'd been dead for a while. So it was just kind of interesting and very moving. The memory that I guess somewhere inside me I hoped was real and was a memory, was a future memory from then, and forced me to sit there a while and contemplate this very, very complex relationship that I had had with my mother, that was, in fact, in the last few years of her life, almost just what you would want. Because once my mother had lost her mind and lost her memories, we were better with each other. And while she had told all my brothers and sisters in the last years of her life, those people that came to visit her in the assisted living home, she would always tell everybody how beautiful they were, including me. And I would laugh because I look just like my mother, but that would be my mother. So she also told them she loved them, how much she loved them. She never told me that. But what she did say, one day, she just had I had my arm around her, and she looked at me and she said, "You're my buddy." And that's the best thing she ever said to me. So that's what I let go of that day, or return to her, or whatever it is you're doing when you're when you're giving someone's ashes back to the earth. I don't really know I don't know what that ceremony is about, but all I know is it clearly brought some things up for me, brought some things forward for me, creating a memory that hadn't happened yet, but did. And it's been very interesting since then. It's been, well, it's less than a month since I did that. And in less than a month, things have hit the fan emotionally. And I have processed quite a lot more than I ever expected to process on an emotional level about and around being a mother, around my being a mother, around how the mother that she was to me made me the mother that I was to my children, which was not wonderful, but was all it could be. We get what we need, all of us, eventually, and we grow. I love you. Thank you for being part of my story. Bye.